Walker here, and this week I just wanted to do something a little different for Thinking Thursdays. And I have been asking you guys a lot of questions in our Facebook group over at Coffee and Books, and I've been getting a lot of feedback. And one of the big things that I keep seeing over and over again is that you guys just aren't getting enough time for your writing, that you don't really know where to fit it in or how to get it in so that you can get your book done. And I wanted to talk to you about that a little bit today. For one, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. You know, when I first wrote my first book, Near Suicide, and I am going to talk a little bit about that in another video, but this is it. We're going to talk about that when we go into self-publishing. But when I first wrote that book, I was working as a nursing assistant in a local hospital in our small town of Newfane, New York, and I was a single mother of 3 children. I was going to school full-time for nursing, and I was working full-time. So it was, I didn't have a lot of time on my hands. And because I was going to school day shift, I was working midnight. So if you can just imagine how tiring that got. I went to school during the day and then would come home and take a nap, and then when I was awake, I would do my homework and all that. And then at night, I would go to work at the night shift. So I was running my candle at both ends because I was working midnights, going to school, coming home, sleeping, and then trying to do my homework in between. And it was in the middle of nursing class, in one of my nursing lectures, that book actually came to me. I had sort of drifted off into a daydream, and the original book in Near Suicide, the character's name was Janie, and she was just like screaming in my head, and scenes kept flashing before my eyes. And then that night I went home and I tried sleeping, and it kept coming to me, the scenes in a dream, and it just wouldn't let me alone, and I tossed and turned and I couldn't sleep. And luckily I had the day off work the next day and school off. It was a Saturday, so I lucked out. I had a double day, a day to myself. And what happened was my muse had kicked in, and I literally had to do something to get this out of my head. So I sat down at my computer, and 6 chapters flew right out of my fingertips. And it was in that moment that I realized that what my calling was, that I wanted to write, that I wanted to tell stories and entertain people with the stories that I could tell. So once I got that first book finished, more stories kept coming to my brain. And, I would be walking down the road and I would see someone and be like, oh, that would make a story idea would pop into my head. And I would have to go home and start writing. And before I knew it, I had like 7 documents of story ideas where chapters upon chapters had just flown out of my fingertips. So how did I find the time to write in between all that busyness? If this is something you truly want and desire in your life, you really want to be a writer, you really want to get that book finished so that you can put your message out there or your story out there to other people, then it's very important that you try to figure out how to find time to write, because your muse is just not going to let you alone until you get that story out of you. So how do you find time? Here are a couple suggestions that I have that might help you. Just sort of block time out for yourself so that you can write. Me, I wrote any chance I had. When I had breaks in between classes, I would write. I had not a laptop. Back then I didn't have a laptop. It was a notebook that I kept, and I would just write and write and write, and then when I got home, I would put them into the computer. And if the kids were gone to their dads for the weekend, I would write then. I would utilize that time for my writing. But I know some of you are married and you have your kids all the time, and you work full time, and it's just so hard to find the time to write. So here are a few suggestions for you. Number 1, talk to your family. Let them know that this is very important for you, that you really want to write a book, that you have a great story that you want to tell, and ask them to help you find time to write. Ask your husband or your wife, can you give me just 1 hour a day where I don't have to worry about anything? I don't have to worry about the phone ringing. I don't have to worry about something breaking down. I don't have to worry about the kids. I don't have, Ask your family to support you. The next tip that I have is to schedule it on your calendar. For me, this was a big thing. I had to block time out in my schedule. I would make a to-do list and literally put it into my schedule, an hour, either after the kids went to bed, or you can get up an hour earlier. And that's tip number 3. If you normally get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to start your day, get up at 5 and just give yourself that 1 hour extra time to write. And then that gives you a little bit of space and a little bit of freedom, a little bit of silence. Everybody's still sleeping. You can get up and you can write your book and literally make time for your writing. And then the rest of it, just kind of have it fall into place. And if you're worried about social media, Hootsuite is great for that. You can automate everything and make more time for your writing. And as long as you ask your family for that support, they want to help you. They want to help you reach your dreams. That's what family does. They support each other and love each other and help each other reach some goals. And that is the 4th thing, is to set some goals for yourself. You know, how soon do you, depending on how much story, when do you want to have your book done by? Set that goal. How many words a night do you want to, in that hour can you type? Set that goal. And another tip number 5 that is going to be key, and I know some of you say, I hate this. I hate doing it. It just does not benefit me. It drives me nuts. I know. I was a pantser, okay? All my books before Wolf Be Mine and Be Brilliant, Be Bold, Be Beautiful You and Rock the Holidays, all of them were written on the fly, okay? So I never outlined a book, but outlining. Let me just tell you, if you haven't grabbed Be Brilliant, Be Bold, Be Beautiful You, I put it all out there. Exactly how to get your book done in 1 weekend. Okay, what if you could do it in 1 weekend? How awesome would that be to get your book finished in 1 weekend? What if you could just ask your family, please just give me this weekend to do this, and only take 1? You could so get it done, right? So just take these tips to heart. Block time out for yourself. Ask your family to support you. Read Be Brilliant, Be Bold, Be Beautiful You to learn how you can write your book in 1 weekend. 1 weekend. How cool would that be if you could just get that entire story out? And I just want to touch back on the outlining thing. Outlining has saved my life, okay? Because let me just tell you, if you kind of have an idea of where the story's going, then the story is going to flow that much smoother. And you're going to run into less roadblocks, and you're going to run into less blips where you're, and fighting with your muse, because if you have an outline and an idea of where the story's going, it gives your muse direction. And when your muse has direction, the story flows so much easier, faster, and you get your book done that much sooner. I really hope that this week helped you. And if you guys have any questions at all, leave it in a comment below, either below the video, or if you're watching the video from my blog, leave it in a comment below and just let me know where you're struggling and how I can help you reach your dreams, because we all have a dream inside of us and we all have a message that we need to get out. And if writing a book is that for you, then I want to help you achieve that goal. Okay, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I hope Thinking Thursday helped this week. I'll talk to you next week.